Today's episode is brought to you by
Sutler is a crowdsourced, hyper-localized app that rewards local users exploring their local community. Sutler lets local businesses connect directly with their best customers, locals, sharing time-sensitive deals and exclusive Sutler specials only offered on Sutler. Locals know best, not an algorithm. Sutler. Trust local.
You're listening to Real to Real with Coach Herb and B, a podcast that brings you community and culture with your host, Coach Herb and B.
All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Coach Herb, and I'm always joined by my girl, B, and Mr. Ben in the background, and we have Marc O'Neill.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
Can we call you by your full name, or are we just going to go with Marc O'Neill? Since,
you just call me Chef Marco.
Chef Marco.
Chef Marco O'Neill.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Your name does make me want to say the whole thing at one time, though.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody be confused. They're like, is it Marc O'Neill? Is it Mark? I just say, just call me Marco. Everybody shortens it to Marco. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
cool.
thank you, Chef. Thanks
All right,
for
well,
coming
welcome
on.
to our show, and
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I guess you're going to give us a brief background on how you got started in the business and where you're from and all that good stuff, if you don't mind.
Yep. So hello, everyone. I am Chef Marc O'Neill. I came up in the culinary industry totally by accident. A friend of mine got me a job washing dishes in a hotel.
Okay.
And I wanted more money. So I was like, well, what can I do to get more money? And they were like, well, the next step up from washing dishes is being a prep. So I became a prep, and then I wanted more money. And I said, what I got to do to make more money? It's like, you got to learn how to cook. And so I lied and said, oh man, I know how to cook. What y'all talking about? And they called my bluff, and they threw me on the hotline one day because somebody called out sick. And I was so scared because I really didn't know what I was doing. But I had, luckily, as a dishwasher, I paid attention.
Yeah.
And it all paid off. I was watching the cooks because the dishwashing line was at the end of the hotline.
Right.
So whenever I wasn't busy, sometimes I would step over there and I would just ask questions. I'd be like, well, why are you doing that like that? What's the purpose of that? And I didn't realize all that time I was feeding my passion, and I was also learning. So when I got through on that hotline, it was crazy how all that stuff clicked. I was like, oh, I remember so-and-so seeing him do it like this, or him telling me to do this. And it just all clicked. And I did a good job. On my first day, they did not know. They did not know that I wasn't a cook. I pulled it off.
Right.
So after that, I just was like, man, if I can do this, I was like, I'm about to see how far I can take it because I liked it. We started cooking at 3:00, and I looked up again, and it was 9:30.
Wow.
And it felt like 20 minutes. Yeah, it felt like 20 minutes had went by. So that's what caught me. I said, man, this is my kind of job. Time goes by fast. I was having fun. I'm like, I'm gonna stick with this. And I stuck with it. And I've always been an artist, right? But I cannot draw to save my life. And once I realized I had the artistic ability of putting food on a plate and making it look like art, and somebody told me that, that's when I knew it was my calling, because I've always been an artist, always. But like I said, I'm not a good illustrator.
Right.
But I learned that there's different types of art, and I learned that maybe my way of expressing art was through food.
Yeah.
And so once that clicked, it was a wrap. I just everything chef life after that. I started watching Food Network channel, subscribing to Epicurious, enrolled in culinary school. I just submerged myself in the industry after that. Once I've seen that, oh, this is just like art. You know, it's just a different way of expressing your art. I just took it and ran with it. Yeah.
You're really actually destroying my my diet that I'm kind of on, because I've been seeing some of the stuff that you put on there, man. I'm like, man, I wish
I look at it and I'm like, man.
Yeah, especially the lamb chop.
I would.
Oh my God. I'm like, oh, It is lean meat though. That's the one positive.
It is.
It's very lean
It
meat. But man, I'll be like, yo,
Yeah.
I could get 4
Those
or 5
lamb chops.
Lamb chops.
And herb. Everything's good in moderation, man.
That is true.
In moderation.
That
you
is
can have too much sea moss. I got friends that's like, oh, sea moss, and I'm like, you know, you can have too much sea moss, right?
Right.
So it's just like anything else, you know.
Yeah.
It's if you moderate it, and you know, you take your time with it, I feel like your body will react, and your body will let you know what's for it, what's not for it. You gotta listen to your body.
Yeah. Like from looking on all your stuff, you know, how do you decide the combinations of all your recipes that you put out and all the food that you put out? Because I've seen some things where you have like a seafood and a protein, which I guess seafood is kind of like protein, but you do like a lobster with lamb chops or beef with like shrimp, and I'm like, ooh, you know, I'm like, man, look at this dude.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the Maryland in me, because Maryland is so big on seafood that I made it my business to find a way to incorporate seafood in almost anything, because Marylanders they go crazy for it. And then the people that visit Maryland, they know us for seafood, so when they come here, that's what they want too. Right. You know, so I've learned how to just do all kinds of surf and turf, and what I realized is it's all about the textures and the flavors. Okay. You know, if you can create a flavor profile that goes together and complements each other, then anything's possible. It's not about the one thing being a poultry and another thing being a protein or something, or beef. It's just about the flavors. If you can make the flavors go together, you can pretty much make it work. Yeah.
Would you say that's like your specialty, surf and turfs? Or what's your favorite, I guess, thing to make?
My favorite thing to make is probably, because it changes a lot, because I'm always trying new stuff. Okay. So right now I'm stuffing things. Like I'm stuffing shrimp, I'm stuffing salmon, I even stuffed a lamb chop. And I'm just really fascinated with the different kinds of stuffings I can make. Because at first I was just doing like, the traditional, I'm gonna stuff it with crab meat. Right. And after that I was like, okay, there's somebody that didn't want crab, but they wanted stuffed chicken, and then I stuffed it with pimento cheese, and it was delicious. And I was like, oh my God, the combinations I can make with the stuffings are amazing. So like right now I'm actually making this stuffing that has green bell peppers, cream cheese, garlic, and spinach, and my Marco spice. And it's so good. Like I've stuffed every protein with it, and it's just so good. So I'm just like, that's where I'm at right now. I like stuffing things.
Listen to this guy.
It's like a little surprise. you got the meat,
right?
But then you got the little, in the middle.
Yep. I see how you put in that little Marco spice.
That's what I was literally about to bring up, that Marco spice. Tell us a little bit about that, Marco.
Yeah, please.
You selling it?
Okay. Yes, I do sell it. Okay. And I'm going to tell y'all how it was born, totally by accident. So I was using this thing called Total Seasoning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Total Seasoning is really good. I mean, and everything I put it on, people are always like, what is that? What is that taste? And it's a distinctive taste. Mm-hmm. And I actually tasted some food that had MSG in it. And I was like, is this the taste I'm tasting on in the Total Seasoning? So I did my research. And I found out the Total Seasoning doesn't say that it has MSG.
Oh.
It actually spelled it out. It says monosodium glutamate, right? Which is MSG. So once I found that out, I took it off, because I was like, I went to culinary school, so I know about MSG. It's a chemical. It gives you headaches. It's a food additive. Yes, it makes the food taste delicious, but it's really not good for you. So once I X'd it out, I was determined to recreate that flavor, but healthy. Yeah. So I called the company, I did everything I could. I constantly tasted it, and I started mixing spices. I was like, okay, I taste onion powder, I taste garlic powder, I taste cumin, I taste oregano, and I started mixing it, and I finally didn't get a mix that was the total seasoning at all,
Right.
but I came up with this mix that is Marco spice, and it's a total seasoning, and it's amazing. And all of the seasonings I use only organic, so everything's good. It's all fresh, and I like it because you don't have to use salt. I don't put any salt in it. It's
Okay.
just spices.
Mhm.
Some of the spices that I mix in have salt, and that's what adds the salt and the iodine that you need. But there's no extra added salt, and it can go on anything. Your
Anything.
meat, your vegetables, your seafood. It's delicious.
You might
So
have to get
Yeah.
some of that herb.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. And we ship. People always ask me if I ship. I don't ship food yet, but I
Right.
do ship the Marco spice.
Okay. That sounds
Hmm.
that sounds that sounds like a promising
Yep.
thing.
There we go.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
bomb. It's
I'm
bomb.
trying
Trust.
since this quarantine. I've been trying to expand my cooking range. Let's just say,
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
so I'm
that'll definitely give you some. It just adds a nice flavor, and
yeah.
it adds a nice touch to your food. And one of the things I learned at a young age was I knew I liked McDonald's because McDonald's tastes like McDonald's. It
Right.
wasn't because McDonald's is necessarily good. It was because at a young age I knew. I said every time I go to McDonald's, it's consistent. I
Consistent.
know what I'm getting.
Right.
And that's what I strived for with my food. And that's what made me make Marco Spice, because I was like, that's something I can put on my food that you could be anywhere. And if you taste it, you're gonna be like, oh, did Chef Marco cook this? Because this tastes like Marco Spice. Like that flavor is
Yeah.
distinctive to my food.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really think has helped me take off. Having a distinctive taste to my food has really helped set me aside from my counterparts,
Yeah.
honestly.
Do you have it in any storefronts or anything like that?
No, I don't. I'm actually in talks with Whole Foods right now to do that because it's very easy. It's a very easy process to get it in the stores.
Okay.
But what's crazy? I'm making more money just selling it myself, because
Yeah.
once I do the storefront, they're gonna take so much
Yeah.
that it's like, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but right now I'm like,
Right now, it's
mm,
better to keep your own coin.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's working.
Yeah.
It's selling very well, and I'm not looking at I'm not losing any money off of it. So I'm just like,
Okay.
okay, let me stick with this until I find the right deal. I don't just want to go with, like, people are like, why don't you get your stuff in Whole Foods? It's so easy. And I always tell them, well, I'm thinking bigger than Whole Foods. What if I find a company that just wants to,
Promote you.
manufacture it, period. Let's think
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Right.
I'm not saying that getting it at Whole Foods don't mean nothing, but I'm thinking so big that I'm not just trying to jump on the first thing
Right.
that comes my way. I'm like, yo,
Right.
this can be something that I can get to the point where the spice is my bread and butter, and I just cook when I want to,
Yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
So
That is true.
That's smart
That is true.
business thinking right there.
So
I'm all about brand.
Hmm.
I hate to,
All
but
about it.
I hate to skip over, but now Mr. Ben is gonna have the great questions that we sometimes don't go over. So what you got for us,
Ben gonna
Ben?
keep us on track.
Yeah.
So, Chef Marco, where did your passion for cooking come from? I know you mentioned about being an artist, but just kind of curious, have you always been cooking? Did you cook with family at home? Just kind of how did that kind of manifest itself into you to bring you to where you are today?
The passion came literally just from being an artist. That's all it was. Everyone in my family cooks. My mom is a great cook. My dad is a good cook. My grandmother, my aunts. Um, but everyone was cooking one type of cuisine, which was Southern. My family's from South Carolina.
Okay.
So when I got up north, and also as I moved around because I was a military brat, I started realizing that it's more cuisines out there. It's more than just mac and cheese
Right.
and fried chicken and and greens for real. I didn't
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean? I learned how to make an omelet from a Caucasian friend. I learned how to make sticky rice from an Asian friend.
Right.
I learned a lot of recipes. I had a Filipino girlfriend who taught me a lot. And it just started opening my eyes up to, all right, I thought I liked food, but I don't know anything about it. And
Right.
so when I got into food, it wasn't because I liked food. It was because I liked the way I could make food look on a plate, honestly.
Okay.
And then once I started getting good with making food look nice on a plate, then I started focusing on the flavors and the
Yeah.
taste. Because I had a woman who wanted to go out to eat every single week. And every week we went out to eat, I would taste something and it would be something that I make. And I don't know if God was trying to like tell me something, but literally it was always better than mine. And I ain't like that. I would be like, dang, this crab cake is better than mine. These lamb chops are better than mine. This mashed potatoes is better than mine.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not just about making the food look good, because I had that down. My food looked amazing.
Right.
But I was like, I gotta get this stuff to taste good. And once I got there, that's where my true passion came out, because I felt like I already had the passion to make it look good. But now I started having the passion to make it taste good. And once I put both of those together, at that point, that's when I started calling myself a chef, or I allowed people to call me a chef. Because even after culinary school, I didn't consider myself a chef. I had been cooking for 5 years, and I still was like, I'm just a cook. I was like, I'm not a chef yet. I'm just a cook. Because everything I had done up until that point was a recreation of something I learned from someone else. It was nothing original. I hadn't had my own recipes. And all the chefs I looked up to had been doing it for 10 years or more. So I was like, how dare I sit up here and have people refer to me as a chef when I don't even believe I'm a chef. So once my food started tasting good, and I got to the point where I knew my food was good, not trying to be cocky or conceited, but I really took my time, and I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was like, it's chef. You can call me chef. You know,
So good
and
you could slap your mama, right?
yeah. And the passion continues to grow.
Yeah.
I myself, every day, all I think about is food. And it's like, I was not like that 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I wasn't really like that. And now it's like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, ooh, I have some such and such. I just need to cook something real quick.
Okay.
You know, it's crazy, man. I'm always calling my assistant. Oh, he can't stand me. I'd be tearing him up. I'm like, hey, I got this idea, blah, 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 blah. He'd be like, Marco, it's 6:00 in the morning. I'm like, the grocery store's open though.
Yeah.
You know that, right? Like, I'm about to go to the grocery store right now. And so that's how I am. I'm always working. I'm always trying to create. I always tell my other chefs, yeah, it's competition. I treat it just like anything else. I'm big on sports. I always wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
I always tell people, when you sleeping, I'm working. And I do this. I apply it to the kitchen. If they sleeping, I'm working. Straight up.
That's great.
That's very motivational. I like that.
Yeah.
Aren't you don't you do mentoring as well in your community? Because
yeah,
I can hear it.
yeah. So that came from I was in as a youth, I was big into the Boys and Girls Club, because my parents worked a lot. And I know what the Boys and Girls Club did for me. So when I got to being about 16, 17, I literally just went to the local Boys and Girls Club and was like, what can I do for y'all? Like, the Boys and Girls Club was everything for me. So I'm like, and I remember the teen mentors, they were always the coolest. I didn't like the older ones. So I was like, maybe I can be what somebody was to me. And they gave me a job. And it was my first job as a youth counselor. And then I ended up doing it for 3 or 4 years. But the money wasn't too good. So I got out of the field, but I still had the passion for working with youth. And I knew that I had made an impact on youth's lives, because even after I left that club, there was many a youth and their parents who like kept in contact with me. So I was like, all right, I must have a knack for this, because there's no reason for people to still be trying to follow me around years after I don't work there anymore. So I was like, maybe it's like a calling on my life to mentor kids. So I I thought to myself, I can't really do it right now when I first started cooking because, like I said, I wasn't a chef. So I was like, I don't want to try to mentor anybody. It'd be like the blind leading the blind. But I always knew, I said, man, when I get up there, I'm going to get back into it.
Yeah.
And literally, I didn't even have to try. It happened. As soon as like my Instagram got popping and people start seeing my personality, it was flooding in. I got DMs from and it was weird. It was all kids between the ages of 13, young black men between 13 to maybe about 24, 23. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, I didn't even have to put a post out. Every week, it was a different guy. Hey, man, I look up to you. Could you mentor me? Yada, yada, yada. And at first, I was apprehensive because a lot of them were kind of in trouble a little bit. And I was like, I don't want to deal with no troublemakers or no hard heads.
Right.
But then I was like, dude, you's a troublemaker.
They're looking
You's
for
a
an
hard
out.
head.
Yeah. They're looking for an out. They're looking for
You
something
know?
that'll click in their head and push them away from what they're currently doing. So that's.
But then they see a young black man out here making it.
And I mean, and there's also a stigma on black males about cooking.
Mm.
And so, like, I think a lot of times, you know, they look at the situation of cooking. So they're like, oh man, you know, my mom does the cooking or my grandma does the cooking. And they don't really look at themselves as actual people that could create like that. So they, you know, they shy away from that. And it's just, you know, oh no, you need to go play basketball. You need to go, you know, go do some sort of sporting thing. I think a lot more youth, you need to like look into doing something different. Cooking is one of them. It's because, you know, the more chefs out there, you know, I hate to say it, but would be great because then you could actually like compare, I guess you could say, as to how good this one is, how good that one is, and all that stuff. You know, he makes really good crab cakes, or he makes really good, you know, stews, or whatever, or he's a really good baker.
I want to see our people come together and work together, right?
Yeah. So like, you know, I mean, I could see, you know, the stuff that I'm seeing on Instagram, which is crazy to see, is like I could see Chef Marco's restaurant. You know, I know that's a big ask or a big ordeal because of how times are now, and you know, having a restaurant is probably a lot of
we're gonna
work.
keep our fingers crossed.
Right.
I think that,
you know,
I think that that's definitely something that's going to happen. I don't know in what capacity, but I feel it's so much good energy around what we're doing here, and so many good things are happening. I'm like, there's no way. It's no way. It's only up. I only can go up from here. The, you know, guys giving me so much focus and just centered me in such a way I've never been centered before, that I really feel like I could do anything. Like, I've never felt that way before, but I actually feel that way now. Like, it's crazy because when I'm talking to my team and I'm telling them what we're gonna do, like I can feel that they know I'm telling them some good stuff. To talk to someone and they know, like, just to see the look in their eyes, like they believe in me. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. Because I've always been the underdog. Always. My whole life, I was always the best friend. Like, I was the best friend of the captain of the basketball team. I was the best friend of the most popular guy in school. I was always the second runner up. So it's like, now to be a leader like this and have people believe in me, it's surreal to me, man. I'm so thankful. And I think I had to play second fiddle because it's allowed me to be humble. I feel like if I didn't, I would be a butthole. And because I played second fiddle now, I'm very humble. But yeah, I think God did that on purpose. Cause it was like that. It was like, man, why I always gotta be the best friend? I was like, I'm always the best friend. Like, I want to be prom king. Like, not saying, oh yeah. You know the guy prom king? Man, that's my best friend, man. We hang out every day. And that's how it was. I always was best friends with like the most popular guy, or whoever did something really good, they was always my friend. And I knew it meant something. So I never let it bother me at the time. But I knew there was gonna be a day where I would have to be that lead person. I just didn't know what God was setting me up for.
Yeah.
But I tell everyone, the reason why I was able to do this is because no matter what stage I was in my life, I always said His will, not mine.
Right.
I never looked at my life and was like, well, why I should be here? I should be doing this. Why am I not? Because I'm 35 and I'm just starting to turn the corner. When I was 25, I was down and out. I was disappointed in myself. I was disappointed in where I had got up into in that time of my life. I thought I was a failure. And here we are 10 years later, and I'm like, shoot, man, you could do anything. So yeah, and I wouldn't have thought that in 10 more years I would see success.
Right.
You know, when I was 25. I kind of felt like because I hadn't reached it at that time, that maybe I was just gonna have to live a life of complacency. You know, and I actually started to settle in for that. I actually started to sit there and believe, well, maybe it's not for me to have this or have that or have the things that I envision. Maybe I'm just supposed to have a apartment and a used car. And, you know, like I was starting to like come down, and then I don't know. I decided not to do that. But I did for the rest of my 20s. I kind of gave up a little bit and was like, I'm just going to, you know, go to work, not really aspire for anything, just
was there any
stay out of trouble.
Person who motivated you into, who like maybe helped you be like, look, all right, man, yeah, you should do this? Because I feel like there's always someone who could help push you into that.
Well, I first saw Marcus Samuelson. So my problem with cooking was, I said I'm an artist, and I feel like you have different kinds of artists. You have the artists that are like kind of eccentric and kind of like out there and weird, and then you have like the cool artists, right?
Yeah.
And I always felt like that was me. Like all my life, I love dressing. I always felt like I was a cool guy. So I felt like, man, cooks aren't cool. I was like, I have not met one cool cook that I could look at black, not white. I seen the white ones. I'm like, oh, you got these white cooks with all these tattoos and facial piercings, long hair. I see them, but I was like, where are the cool black cooks at? I'm like, every time I see a black cook, they old. They ain't got no swag. I was like, man, what's going on?
Doing it for 100 years.
Yeah, been doing it. Yeah, just for them to get a little bit of clout, they've been cooking for like 30 years. I'm like, man, what's going on? So I told you I subscribed to Epicurious, and I got I never forget it. The day I got it, I stared at it like a little kid. It was the cover was Marcus Samuelson, and he had on an outfit that literally was something I would wear. And I was like, this dude's a chef? I was like, he don't look like no chef. I was like, he dripping. I was like, he cool. So instantly I started doing my research, and from him, I was like, there's got to be other cool chefs. I'm not looking in the right places, because all I kept finding was these white chefs.
Yeah.
So I was like, where are all the black chefs? And I found one on Instagram, and his name was Chef Tobias. And after I found Chef Tobias, changed my life.
Wow. Okay.
Because he looks like me. We the same age. We've been through the same things. When I saw how successful he was, and he was unapologetically a black man, I knew. I said, that's it. I was like, I can't be him, but I can aspire. That's what I aspire to be. Because if you saw him, you would not even think he was a chef. You would be, he's somebody, but it's like,
what is he doing?
You wouldn't think chef.
Yeah.
You would be like, are you an athlete? Are you a rapper? Are you what's going on? I see you got diamonds on.
Right.
You got, so that's how I was looking at it. And I was like, if he can do this and unapologetically be himself, I was like, I need to do the same, because one of my issues in my 20s was, like I said, my whole family's military and government. So of course they pushed me to get a government job.
Right.
And when I got one, my personality just didn't fit. I got tattoos. I'm very expressive. And they kept calling me edgy. They kept being like, Mark, you're just too edgy. You're just too edgy, Mark. You're too edgy for a corporate job. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Right.
Because I have dreads, I'm edgy. You know what I mean? Because I don't dress like an old man. You know, in my opinion, it was like, what do you mean I'm edgy? Because I've
Right.
always been professional. I've always been punctual. But yeah, you know, I be me. I have facial piercing. I have tattoos. So they didn't always go over well in my government jobs. And finally, I got tired of it, man. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not going to keep conforming and
Repressing
changing.
yourself.
And
Yeah. Your
yeah, because
personality.
every
Yeah.
time I did, it never worked. It was like I cut my dreads. I still didn't get a promotion. I had a job for 2 years. No one even knew I had tattoos because I wore long sleeves every day and I still didn't get a promotion. So I was like, what does it really matter? I'm doing all this work. So I said, I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to find a career where I can actually do that. And that's why I ended up quitting my job and getting that dishwasher job. And everybody thought I was crazy because they were like, you have college experience, you have work experience. Why would you go somewhere and at 25 years old and wash dishes? And I was like, because I'm not happy. I was like, I'm not happy at these government jobs. I was like, I'm not happy. I don't want to be in the military. I don't want to, you know, at the time Bush had just gotten to office. It was like a lot going on. I was like, I don't want to do this. So that's why I took the dishwashing job. And it just turned out to be the Lord's will for me.
Correct.
You know?
That's awesome.
I like that. I don't even know if you told everybody what area you are located in or where you're
You just
from.
got out.
Oh, I'm back. Somebody try to call me. So I'm a military brat. My family's from South Carolina, but my dad joined the military, and I was born in Kansas. And then we lived in Kansas for 1 week, and then we moved to Germany.
Whoa.
And so I kind of,
That is
yeah,
a
I grew up,
major transition.
yeah, I grew up overseas. So we didn't come back to America until I was like 6, about to turn 6. And I missed everything. This was like the early 90s.
Yeah.
So rap music had just came out. All the black TV shows, Family Matters was popping and all. And I came here and I didn't know
Anything.
nothing. Listen, I never forget. They asked me in class because they were like, introduce yourself. And I was like, yeah, I'm Marcus Grant, blah, blah, blah. I said, my favorite artist is Bruce Springsteen. And them kids was like,
Who
they
is
was like, yeah, like, who is Bruce Springsteen? Like, nobody knew who that was. And I'm looking at them like, what y'all mean? Y'all don't know? Born in the USA. Like, I'm like, what y'all talking about, right? So after class, all the black kids grabbed me up. They changed my life, man. They played me NWA. I remember I was like in the first grade. This dude had NWA on a cassette tape. He said, bro, you need to listen to this. And that was my first time hearing rap music and realizing how out of touch I was with being a black youth in
Yeah.
America. And I was just like, okay. So that's a little background on me. And I just was like, for the next 2-3 years, I was kind of in school, learning about black culture, learning about all the different things because I remember being a youth and because I wasn't around no black people. It was all when I was overseas. I remember I was the only like black kid in my class and I didn't think anything of it. You know, I'm
Right.
a little kid. But when I came over here, it was just certain things that I realized I was so out of touch with, like, even my hair, like, I didn't know what braids were. I didn't know. I was like, I was fascinated. I was like, how y'all do that to y'all hair? Or I remember the first time I saw somebody with a high top, I'm like, oh my God, like, what is that? You know, like, how you
Yeah.
shave the sides and make the top stand up? Like, I
Stand
thought
up.
it was the coolest thing in the world. You know, where I was at in Germany, for real, they were still rocking like Jerry curls and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because it was behind. So
Yeah.
all I knew was like the processed hair, and that's what I wanted. I'm not gonna lie. When I came over here, I did not like my hair. I did not want my hair to stand up. All I wanted was laid down processed hair because that's what I was around. And
Yeah.
then once I got here and I was like, "Ooh, man, I like these braids. I like that high top." It kind of kickstarted me into, you know, being what I would say a black American, honestly. And it just grew from there. And then we moved from the military base in Germany to Fort Meade, Maryland. And then I grew up in Fort Meade all the way until about middle school, and then we moved to Baltimore.
Okay.
And once we moved to Baltimore, that was another culture shock for me because I never been around poverty like that. I
Mhm.
kind of had, but not like I had never seen how it affect people. Put it like that.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I've been around it, but I didn't know the effects of it because everyone I was around was they were middle class suburb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
when we moved to Baltimore, I had friends who was like, "Yeah, I can't get school lunch. Yeah, um, you don't want those shoes anymore. Can I have them?
Yeah.
Like I had friends like that, and I was like, whoa, okay. I thought I didn't have stuff, but there's people out here really, really don't
Really
have.
struggling. Yep.
Yeah, who really
The struggle
struggling,
is
and
real.
Yeah.
yeah, it was a big culture shock for me. It made me realize how much I had, but at the same time, it also made me rebellious because the people that didn't have much, they always say if you're not influencing them, they're influencing you. So I was kind of picking up some of their bad habits too, and it kind of changed me as a teenager. I went from suburban kid to I wouldn't say I wasn't inner city, but we were right there on the line
Hmm.
of Anne Arundel County and Baltimore City, by Brooklyn. And
Mhm.
I just saw a lot and did a lot of stuff that I think if my parents were still in the military if my dad didn't retire at the time he did, I wouldn't have been exposed to. But for some weird reason, that's the way it happened.
Yeah.
And I started getting into a lot of trouble. And then I went to the Boys and Girls Club at 16. It was like I caught myself at about 16, 17. I knew. I was like, man, I'm about to go to jail. I
Yeah.
was like, I keep getting in trouble. I keep getting in fights. And that's why I went to the Boys and Girls Club. My counselor at the time was like, hey, why don't you do something constructive with your time? Because what happened was I was big on sports, but I couldn't make the team anymore because I was too short. So I played JV, but once we got to varsity, I couldn't make the team. And that's when I started getting into trouble because that
Yeah.
structure was gone.
Gone.
So my counselor was like, you need structure. That's why you out here fighting. That's why you out here getting involved in all kinds of stuff that's not you because you don't have nothing else to do. So she recommended the Boys and Girls Club for me. And that is when I was able to kind of, that foundation that my parents laid for me did start to come back. But I went through my phase. I always tell everybody I had a little, thought I was a thug. I don't know what was going on, but
Right.
yeah.
No
I
worries,
feel you.
bro. That was me too. That's how I
Yep.
got to the Y.
I think we all went through some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like, so then obviously fast forward, you got into cooking and you were really obviously passionate about it because you do a lot of different type of stuff. I'm like, I've seen some of your breakfast stuff. I've seen some of your
Hmm.
Mhm.
your lunch and dinner stuff. And so how do people that contact you, do they go, hey, I want to have, this type of meal and I'm allergic to this. So is there any
Hmm.
substitutes and all that stuff? Or do you kind of like lay out a menu for them? Because I know you said that something that you're passionate about is people eating healthier
Hmm.
and
Yep.
also, there's I think you said something about being a trainer as well as
Mhm.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I'm
could
big
you
into
explain a little
fitness
bit of that
as
as
well.
far as like, obviously incorporated tasting good
So
and also healthy and
I realize I am a chef. I have to feel the need. So if
yeah.
you come to me and you're like, Mark, I want mac and cheese, pork, collard greens, and that fried chicken and smothered pork chops, that's what I'm gonna give you. And I'm not going to make you feel bad about it. I'm not going to be like, oh, we should be eating. Nope. I'm gonna give you that good grandma mac and cheese, them smothered pork. I'm gonna give you what you want. Now, if we talk and you're like, Mark, I'm really trying to watch my weight. I'm really trying to look out for this. I'm really trying to look out for that. I go by person basis. Every
Okay.
client is their own, but I do have menus, so I send out the menus, and then I have what I like to call special clients, and these are people that trust me, and these are my favorite. They literally be like, Mark, you know what I don't eat? Just don't give me that and make me whatever.
Make me whatever.
And those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Because that's when I go off. That's when the creative mind gets to work in. That's when some of my best stuff is made, because I get to just create. Yeah. And like I said, I'm an artist. So that's what's most fun to me, is literally going in the grocery store, having absolutely no idea what I'm gonna make, and just stuff catch my eye, and I'll just buy stuff, and it's a wrap. Because when I get back in that kitchen, it come together. Just the other day, just example of what I do. So I was in the store. I was like, I want to make salmon, but I had no idea what kind of salmon. So I literally just bought a salmon fillet. I saw some jalapenos that were bright and green. I bought them. I've never seen shaved coconut before. And I saw it, and I just bought it. And then when I got back to the house, I was like, coconut jalapeno salmon. And it's bomb. Like, I didn't take a bunch of time thinking about it. I didn't, like, because all my friends are like, how you come up with this stuff? How do you? And I'm like, dude, I don't think about it too much. I literally just buy stuff that I like. And then when I get home, it just be coming together. And then I'll sit down and I'll come up with a whole recipe. And now I have a new menu item. But at that moment, it was literally like just all, impulsive, whatever I see. And then I know things go together. I'm like, okay, well, jalapeno is going to play pretty well with coconut, because I was like, coconut's not really sweet, but I was like, it's mild. Yeah. And I was like, I think it would complement each other. And sure enough, it's delicious.
It sounds good. You got me all.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, man.
I even like coconuts.
I might have to drive out to Howard County.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Y'all got to come get some good eats, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
That might be worth a trip.
I'll be out there at the end of this month. I might have to.
Hey, let me know. I'll be cooking every day.
Wow.
Well, at the end of every podcast, we love to promote small businesses, and we are wanting you to promote the heck out of yourself and tell everybody how they can connect with you and, I guess, just enjoy your experience. How about that?
Yes. So, to enjoy the Chef Marc O'Neil experience, you can book me at Meals by Marc O'Neil. That's ONEIL @gmail.com. That's my Gmail. That's the best way to book me. And then if you're on Instagram, the second best way to book me is at Meals by Marc O'Neil on IG. And you can DM us, and I have an assistant or someone there. If it's not me, we answer promptly. We answer all day. This is what we do. And we're here. So any inquiries, any questions you guys have, we do private events. We do pickup. We do delivery. We do small catering. We do cooking lessons. And of course, we also do mentorship. So if you know any youth that we also work with the schools. So if they need to get their service hours, they can come work in the kitchen and they could turn that in for service hours. And we offer everything except for no events over 100 people. That's it. That's the only. Yeah, that's the only thing. And we're getting there. We're getting there to that point. We just need a space. We need an actual bigger space to do that, to hold all the food. Yeah. But other than that, small events, private parties. The in-home experience is when I come in and I cook for a small group of intimate friends, 6 to 8 people. I explain what I'm cooking. I'm funny, I entertain, and we have a good time. And that's my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is the in-home experience, because I'm a people person. I love to talk to people. I love to get to know people. So it's just like an intimate experience where I've made so many friends that way, where it's like I'm cooking for them, and then next thing I know, they're like, hey man, I need help with this training. I need help with just life in general. I think I've reached a point in my life where I can, I have something to give to people. I have experiences. I have good energy. I just want to be of service. That's all I can really say. I'm ready to live my life out of service. So food is my avenue, but through food, we doing everything. I'm trying to get my people healthy.
Yes.
I'm trying to help people on their spiritual journeys. I'm trying to help people to just enjoy life and know that I'm a true comeback story. We haven't even scratched the surface of some of the things that got me to where I am today. But just know I'm a true comeback story, and my testimony, it's gonna save a lot of lives, and I'm sharing it. That's why I'm here, honestly, to share it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I love that. It's super motivational, especially during right now too. So I love it. Yeah.
And a lot of people that need inspiration from just watching somebody. Like I said, I've watched a few of your videos, and I'm like, oh man, this dude's like dancing while he's cooking.
Yeah. The way he was like drizzling.
Right.
Everything.
Chef Marco Drizzle.
I be looking at my stuff like, who is this guy? For real, man. Cause I'd be like 4 or 5 years ago, I was quiet. I was reserved.
Trying to just focus.
Just trying to, just trying to focus. Just trying not to mess it up. You know? And now it's like, look at this. Bam. Not only am I know I'm not gonna mess it up, but I'm gonna talk some trash too. So it's kind
of which is actually good. I think it also brings out, like you said, you were going around and tasting other foods when you were going to eat at restaurants. You also were like, man, I need to make this taste better than what I just had, which I think also your personality comes out with it. So it actually is a good thing. Like the confidence to make something, to continue to evolve is probably attributed to how you started out, like being humble. So,
thank you.
I think from what I see, man, I'm like, man,
you're out here doing your thing, man.
Yeah,
beautiful to see.
Thank God.
I know.
Thank God.
I'm inspired by the lamb chops and all the stuff that I'm like, man, if I make this, am I gonna gain 20 pounds or am I gonna?
No. Just eat it one time.
Something very, very good, which is in moderation.
Yeah, moderate, because it's okay to treat yourself.
Right.
I always tell people
we're gonna have to come pick up some food.
Right. For sure. We're gonna have to make that drive.
Or get or coach get that at home experience.
Oh, we want that.
Or do that.
So,
and I also piggyback on the in-home experience. What I was gonna start doing is I'm about to start working with personalities. So basically, I come and I cook for you guys, but I interview y'all.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start videoing it and putting it up on my YouTube page, where it's kind of like, I cook for you guys, but we have, just like how we're talking right now, I would talk to you guys and I would ask you about your endeavors, what got you into, where you're at, and just, that's what I'm about to start doing. I actually did a trailer for it, and it turned out great. It's this girl that has probably maybe 31K or something like that, and she just does makeup. And I had her come in and sit down. I was like, you got a lot of people that want to know how you got to where you got, and just, a lot of stuff about you, your personal, life too. She has fans because she's a beautiful girl. And it turned out awesome because I was just like, people got to kind of get to know me as well as I'm sitting there interviewing her. So I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. And and the time went up, it was so fast. It was like time went by so fast. I said, anything where time is going by, I know I'm enjoying myself. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start doing this. Because I know I'm a cook and I love to cook, but I have realized that this is just a platform for me to do things. To do other things. I actually realized that.
So tell people how to get your seasoning.
So the same thing. If you want to order a Marco spice, there's two different kinds. There's a total seasoning, which is garlic powder based, and then there's a red Marco spice red, which has a little more kick, which is paprika based, and which is more for like.
That sounds like what we need.
That sounds
the red. That Marco spice red. Oh man, I love Marco spice.
Yeah, we gonna have.
But Marco spice red is the one. That's the one. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That's the one.
Is there a site, or is it more just like?
Go to my Gmail, and when you go to my Gmail, mealsbymarconeal.com, you just say, hey, I want to order a pint of the Marco spice, and then we send you the order form, and you get your confirmation, and we go from there, whether it's pickup, delivery, or we mail it to you. We do all three.
All right. Cool.
So, yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
We
coming
got what you
on.
need.
For coming
You know,
on.
we
And
truly appreciate it, especially being a young Black business grow into, or not even finish growing. Basically, you just sprouting.
Oh yeah, just sprouting, y'all. Guys, been so good, and I want to thank my people for supporting me, because the number one thing they told me in restaurants, oh, Mark, what's your demographic? What's your demographic? Because the type of food that you cook, your people not gonna pay for that. All this, and no disrespect to these guys, but these was all white and Latino chefs telling me this.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I'm gonna buy food. It's good.
Your people are not gonna pay $25 for a to-go plate. Your people not gonna pay $30 for a to-go plate. That's what they kept telling me. Yeah, that's what they kept telling me. They were like, they only pay those kind of prices. That's why they come to restaurants. That's why they come sit down at restaurants, right? That's what they told me. Yeah, they told me I would look stupid. I remember one chef told me I look stupid for putting my good food, such high quality food, inside of a to-go plate. He was like, you're crazy. Why would you disrespect your food like that? I said, if somebody wants it and they're gonna pay for it, I can still make it look nice. And I've never seen anybody waste their time plating food in a to-go plate. You're crazy. That's what he told me. Wow. Now I see everybody do it. And I'm not saying I started it, but I'm the first person I know that was like, just because it's a to-go plate, don't mean I'm just gonna throw it in there. Right. I was like, I'm still gonna make it look like you're getting a gourmet dinner. Right. I was the first one I seen do that, and now everyone does it. Yeah. I have people that ask me all the time, hey, how does this look? They hit me up. I see your to-go plates. They're beautiful. How do you what about mine? What do I need to work on? What do I need to do to get my to-go plates to look like that? Because just because it's a to-go plate or something, it don't mean they don't deserve the experience. Yeah. So I just want to tell all them chefs that told me my people weren't going to support me because my prices was too high. They're wrong. They was all wrong.
That's a stigma that we need to get out of too, because everybody thinks that people are not willing to pay for something that
they pay, man.
And I think that's also a stereotype that is also following us as a people. So
yeah. So yeah. I admit what helps me is being in DC and PG, because I feel like there's a plethora of Black people that have the financial backing to support me. I will admit that, because there's other cities that I've been in where it's not as people. The Black people aren't as many successful Black people. I'm gonna tell you right now, these people in Upper Marlboro and Waldorf, they go all out for me. Yeah. They go all out for me. Not only do they pay and never ask about my price, they tip, they recommend me to other people. It is a blessing. When I say my people show out for me, they show out for me. And I never would have thought.
Support the Black business. Support the Black business.
Let's continue, guys. Y'all keep, especially in this pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah. And y'all showed out, man. Yeah. People showed. Everybody was like, "Oh, you're not gonna make it through this pandemic, man. You need to go get you a job. You need to go." People asking me for a job.
Hey, that's what I like to hear, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. Appreciate you coming on. On that note, we're gonna end there. Drop the mic and.
That wasn't dropping the mic. I like that. Yeah.
I like that ending. And appreciate you coming on, Mark. And as usual.
Until next time.
Until next time. Peace, y'all.
All right. Big love. Big love.
Big love.
The Real to Real podcast is presented by Herbert Williams Beffo and Bianca Moskaitis. Our producer is Ben Runyon. Our technical director is Nick Patry. Audio and video lead is Megan Kotner. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow and like us on Facebook and Instagram at Real to Real, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or anywhere else podcasts are found. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. It's been real with Coach Herb and B.